What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, at least a manageable one. This story keeps getting a little more weird, including what appears to be now a sudden reluctance to release information that would be very interesting to understand motive and potential other, places this individual wanted to go. Suddenly, and with almost coordinated reports, the local PD there has decided that they are going to withhold potential this letter that was written. I think now this proves that it is probably that it does probably name certain individuals, certain organizations, maybe in the area or things of that nature. It's absolutely curious. You see this article here, Matt Walsh saying LGBT groups are now actively trying to prevent the release of the manifesto. They don't want anyone to know their rhetoric is radicalizing people. This is exactly why it must be released, and it must be released now. I 100% agree. And you see LGBTQ plus groups told Newsweek that publishing it from the perpetrator would have, quote, serious consequences. Is that it seems like some could be perceived that as a threat. Then, of course, Nashville PD said it won't make the manifesto public during an open investigation. Well, that's interesting to me because you made everything else public. I mean, we saw it actually go down. So why suddenly now are you not allowed to share this? This is very curious. And there's all sorts of other information going on out there that we're going to talk about. So we've got a couple of good news GoFundMes from one of the people that didn't survive. We have the left obsessing over a representative of Tennessee having a Christmas photo featuring himself being armed, and you have morons like Piers Morgan. By the way, like, people keep telling me that Piers Morgan is so smart, but like every time he has some sort of weird hot take, it's just so dumb. Especially when you're talking about 2A stuff. Piers is just not very smart. I mean, I know he does good with the anti-woke stuff and things like that. But you see, yesterday, what happened in everything that happened yesterday, the district in Nashville, Tennessee, is represented by Congressman Representative Andy Ogles. This was his family's Christmas card last year. So what? I legit don't understand why that should matter. That's like a classic Piers Morgan hot take, I guess. There's all sorts of other updates here too, because what's interesting is I want to know exactly what these other targets were. It turns out, according to these records, that not only were there more tools in the home that they released this morning, but the parents, she had hid them from their parents, apparently. Also, we found out this individual was being, quote, treated for an emotional disorder. Speaking to Fox News, they said that they legally obtained the tools that they used, but shouldn't have been in possession because she was being treated for an emotional disorder. It's unclear what disorder they had. I have a feeling. And then they also have, so we now know, okay, they were being treated for something. I don't know what kind of pills they were on. What if they were on some sort of pills and the pharmaceutical companies don't want that to get out? I don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating. That's why we have to have the information. We also know that they also looked at, they strongly believe that this individual is going to go after their own family as well as a local shopping mall. You see, quote, Nashville PD Chief John Drake said officials strongly believe that they were planning to go after individual family members as well and one of the malls in Nashville. I've only been to one mall in Nashville. It's gigantic. I think it's the one with the Grand Ole Opry in it. But so now we know. Okay, so there were multiple other targets. Geez, I wonder what was mentioned in this letter. Drake also said the student may have been fueled by, quote, resentment as they stage everything planned. The search of the home revealed additional weapons and additional maps indicating other potential targets. Which brings me back to, again, why is now Daily Caller? Nashville PD refuses to release the manifesto. I think that it's important to be released for many reasons. First of all, are there other targets in there? Did they work alone? I think people need to know this. I think that the mainstream media is extremely concerned about this. They're extremely concerned that there's going to be traces of the rhetoric that they've used. Now, I think, I continue to want to point out to people that this is somebody who is mentally ill. And that is what led them to do this, I believe. I don't know anything else right now because they have not shared this particular important piece of information. It seems like everybody else's stuff gets out there. Although I remember like Google and stuff like that had banned the sharing of certain things. I wonder if YouTube will even allow coverage for it. They said, quote, no, we will not be releasing the manifesto during an open investigation, the spokesperson said. I mean, I'm not exactly sure why you wouldn't. I mean, what's open in this still? I suppose there's questions of whether or not there might be other people involved, and that's why they don't want to release it. They wrote, we have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this day. We have a map drawn out. What's interesting is, why aren't they releasing it? I think a lot of people feel like they have the right to know. A lot of people feel like they'll be safer if they know. Even CNN, of course. I mean, the mainstream media is covering it like, I talked about this. There's this here, Reuters referred to this person as former Christian school student. If you're going to say that that's relevant, but not the fact that they were trans isn't relevant, then I don't. So just say 28-year-old female then. I think that this is an interesting way to word it. Obviously, they get completely destroyed. Michael Malice, covert press is the enemy of the people. I think it's extremely interesting. Newsweek writes, while it's not public, the PD Police Chief John Drake on Tuesday gave reporters their first glimpse into what it had. First glimpse. I suspect this will get out. I suspect people will find a way to get this out. You can see here, Drake ruled out rumors that the individual who sent vague messages to a friend hinting at doing something bad had specifically targeted any single person. What's interesting is, inside the manifesto, there were multiple locations with detailed maps of those locations, as well as action plans describing how everything would be carried out. We feel the students that were targeted were randomly targeted. He said there isn't any particular student in there that she was looking at the time. However, he had little to offer in terms of specific motivation on why the loser, a transgender woman who identifies with he, his pronouns, a former student of school, decided to enter the building and do what they did. There's quite a bit of writing to it. I have not read the whole entire thing. Our team and the FBI have been working on it. What's interesting is, wow, this really could have any kind of implications. What about if there was stuff that went on at the school? And would it be that unheard of? What if there's some weirdness that was going on at the school that this brought to light? And they want, the church is a powerful thing. Now, in my experience, most of these ramblings, which is what they end up being, are incoherent and unhinged. But I think that obviously there's going to be a strong demand to see this released. I think that if this had happened at, let's say, a nightclub for a small section of the population, and then that there was some paperwork left behind by the person that did it, the left would be calling for its immediate release so that they could confirm their bias. So I think it's totally right and fair, correct, in this particular situation for the right or conservatives to be demanding the release of this thing. I suspect it won't be released anytime soon, maybe ever, which is very concerning. Make sure that you click that subscribe button down below. And if you haven't yet, make sure you leave a like on the video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.